It is not every day that old J Snip 4's got good news. Matter of fact, it's so rare you may have forgot the last time I gave any good news because there's not a lot out there. But there is some good news. And in the midst of all the crap, there's actually some good news right now. This is from yesterday. Monsanto found guilty of chemical poisoning in landmark case. Scroll down and go ahead and read this. A French farmer who could no longer perform his routine farming duties because of a permanent pesticide injury has had his day in court, literally, and the perpetrator of his injuries found guilty of chemical poisoning. The French court in Lyon ruled that Monsanto's Lasso weed killer formula, which contains the active ingredient allachlor, caused Paul Francois to develop lifelong neurological damage that manifests as persistent memory loss, headaches, and stuttering during speech. Reports indicate that the 47-year-old farmer sued Monsanto back in 2004 after inhaling the Lasso product while cleaning his sprayer tank equipment. Not long after that, he began experiencing lasting symptoms that prevented him from working, which he says were directly linked to the exposure of the chemical. Since Lasso's packaging did not bear adequate warnings about the dangers of exposure, Francois alleged that at the time that Monsanto was essentially negligent in providing adequate protection for its consumers. To the surprise of many, the French court agreed with the claims and evidence presented before it, declaring earlier this year that Monsanto is responsible for this man's suffering after he inhaled the Lasso product and must entirely compensate him. The court is said to be seeking expert opinion on how to gauge this guy's losses in order to determine precisely how much Monsanto will be required to compensate him in this case. And real quick, I know there was another one. There's another one actually from Indiana. This is from 4 days ago actually. Monsanto lawsuit heading to Supreme Court. Now naturally I wouldn't get all giddy about this in our country because everyone's bought and paid for it. So I wouldn't actually expect this to go, you know, the good way, our way, and get rid of Monsanto by finding them guilty and throwing mass penalties on their way, financial penalties, to the winner of the lawsuit, and hopefully close that turd down. But it says an Indiana farmer will have his case against biotech giants Monsanto heard by the U.S. Supreme Court next year after the country's top justices agreed to review the man's appeal. Vernon Bowman, a soybean farmer from the Midwest in his 70s, has been fighting to have an earlier decision awarded to Monsanto appealed by the Justice Department. This actually sounds familiar. I think I saw this in a movie or a documentary. On Friday, the Supreme Court agreed to hear the case. They expected to make it in Washington by January or February of 2013. Bowman was originally sued by, yeah, this is it. This was the most absurd case I ever heard in my life. This is what pissed me off against Monsanto. Before I knew anything about them, this is the one that really pissed me off right off the bat, which made me want to look into the old Monsanto company and see what else they do. Bowman was originally sued by Monsanto for allegedly violating their terms of use for a genetically modified soybean crop that is unaffected by standard pesticides because of the company's patented Roundup Ready technology. Per the company's licensing contract, purchasers of the product are only allowed to harvest one round of crops using the GMO seed. Monsanto sued Mr. Bowman because they insisted he was at fault for planting a second harvest using commercially purchased commodity seeds from a grain elevator that contained, in part, Roundup Ready seeds. Now, that original case sided with Monsanto. However, if this is the story I remember, and man, this sounds like it, I don't know, maybe unless this is a different one, but this, damn it, this sounds like it. A truck that was carrying Monsanto seeds fell over, crashed, and the seeds got dumped out all over the road. It happened to be near a farm. And the next thing they know, these seeds are the same kind of seeds that this guy's planting, except non-GMO seeds, are mixing with his seeds. And Monsanto said, hey, you're growing our crop. You can't do that. He said, no, I'm not. I've been planting my own seeds. No, 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 come over here. And they showed him side of this area here. They got a whole bunch. This is, you can tell because of whatever way of figuring it out. They could tell, though. And he said, oh, you guys had a truck that fell over here, crashed and flipped over and spilled seeds everywhere. Your stuff landed in my property. I didn't put it here. And they sued him and they won. I don't know if this is the same case. It could be, but I don't know. But, I mean, these are tiny. There was one about a month ago. I keep wanting to say either Switzerland or Sweden, maybe, somewhere. Definitely not here in America. You know that. They sued. And it was like either a billion or multi-billion-dollar claim that the people won in court against Monsanto. That was excellent, excellent news. That's fantastic. So, just want to share that with you. Take care.